This is Colin Colwell. I'm the information architect for the workload automation team and other handful of products in the CA mainframe division. And it's kind of a new title for us. It's not exactly descriptive of what I do. Probably a content strategist would be more accurate. I'm basically the manager of the documentation team, so in charge of all the technical documentation and tying that into the other groups and delivering it in a way that makes more sense. So strategizing how to do things better, basically, if you will, for the mainframe team and then specifically for the workload automation team. So I thought today I'd want to give a little bit of background into why we're doing what we're doing before I get into what our new platform is here. So I was trying to share a video and the audio wasn't coming through, so we'll post it to the communities page along with this recording later. And it's just a quick 2 minutes introduction into a process that CA has developed and we're using internally now called DevOps. And a lot of the software organizations out there today are familiar with Agile product methodology. And what DevOps does is basically take Agile as a way of working and look at the whole spectrum of how we do business and deliver software. And essentially what it is the graphic in the right here is showing, is a continuous plan to run, plan, build, deploy software applications in a continuous process. Particularly using Agile as the foundation of that. But there's a lot of other processes involved and thoughts around how that works. So that covers the development side, the R&D side, the support, delivery, sales, and all that. But a lot of the way the DevOps team had started looking at things hadn't touched on documentation yet. So our division had Jim Turcotte, the VP of all technical information for CA Technologies, kind of coined the term and came up with DocOps, and we call it the cool cousin to DevOps. So again, I'll link the video for a quick explanation of what DevOps is. But essentially what we're doing is looking at documentation in a continuous delivery environment now. So as opposed to the old style environment based on traditionally would be a modified waterfall product development methodology where the team goes off essentially in a room, if you will, almost, and develops items for 6, 8, 9 months. And then they deliver it, and with that delivery, we send out documentation in usually PDF forms or sometimes HTML even. But then that documentation is tied to that release specifically, and we tend to not touch it again until maybe 6 or 8 months or 9 months later when the next release goes out. So when there's changes made or updates or iterative enhancements kicked out and made available to the customers, then that means the documentation is basically stale and old, and we had to write supporting documentation on the support sites, for example, to pick up the difference there. So we asked the question of, if DevOps is the new way we're doing things, what do we need to do in documentation to change that and to support it? And so we came up with DocOps. And within DocOps, it's important for us to have a flexible platform to author and deliver the content to the users. So this is originally called the Wiki presentation, but it's more the DocOps presentation. What we're saying now is we're using DocOps as a methodology to deliver information in a constantly updated basis. And what we're using is going to be our platform to deliver that. Today, it's the ca.com wiki or the wiki.ca.com. And tomorrow it might be something else. We're not pinning ourselves to this and holding ourselves to this if technology or when technology increases. So why a DocOps platform? The main thing really is what we've looked at is to support a continuously evolving documentation environment and a continuously evolving product. That means we've got to completely shift the paradigm of how we've delivered documentation in the past. So old model was still based on printed books. So if you go out to our ca.com or support.ca.com website right now and search on the documentation bookshelves, technically they're HTML content with PDFs available as well, But if you look through everything, it is still organized just like a library you would find on your shelf from 30 years ago. So we wanted to break that and move forward into a new way of delivering information altogether without using the book formatting anymore. So we have our DocOps platform as the wiki then. It gives us an authoring environment where we can embed graphics and video, for example. We can have agile product development all within the space with our product teams. They can go in and edit it and assist us with writing it right on the fly, which gives us a collaborative environment to not only work with the traditional teams that build the software within CA, so the development, quality assurance, sales support, things like that, but also to make our spaces available to where users and customers can comment on them. So it's not a full wiki in regard of like a Wikipedia pages where they're wide open for editing, but they're partially open for commenting and, you know, giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you don't like it and explaining to us what you don't like about it. So it's a real collaborative environment. And it also gives us a flexibility of publishing. Our old PDF and Word files took us a while to build them and put them together. The wiki, the DocOps platform now gives us the ability to literally, if you find an error in there in the morning and you send us a message on it, we can have it fixed and republished before lunchtime probably. Depends on exactly what it is, but one small change in a republish out to the live site only takes us about 20 minutes to do. So that means as we have updates immediately available, or a support PTF is going out, for example, to address, let's say, an iterative enhancement, we can add that information to the wiki and publish it immediately. So rather than a stale documentation set that is tied to the specific release the day it went out and nothing else in it, it's a constantly living space that has all updated information constantly available or immediately available as soon as we release it as well. For those that still like the older way of doing things, it does support generation of PDF. Word files, we're still working on. The main thing right now are PDFs and EPUB files, so you can download it to your Kindle or your Nook reader, for example. We're tracking specific analytics, so as the customers go in and comment on pages, we can track that. We have Google Analytics tied to the entire site, so we can see which pages are trending the highest, for example, which pages are never visited, which pages get the most questions about, which then obviously directs us to be able to improve the documentation, again, in real time. And then one of the other great things, it doesn't affect the mainframe teams as much. We don't translate as much in the mainframe, and specifically Workload, we have very few items translated. However, the DocOps platform, the wiki based on Confluent software, gives us almost immediate translation ability, so globalization through cloud translation services. So, for example, if and when we do get around to making the business decision to translate items for workload automation, it can be done fairly quickly and easily. So let me jump over here and just, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, this is our front homepage for the DocOps platform, also known as the wiki.ca.com, our CA technical information wiki page it's now. So just wiki.ca.com. You can hit this from just about any browser. You can hit it from your iPad, your mobile devices. It's friendly on everything. So you can go into the items here as what we call an anonymous user. I'm not logged in this case. And I can tell that by looking in the upper right corner here. You can see login is still available. And once I log in, then my name or my user ID is. The wiki space is tied into our CA support online login. So if you have a login you use through CSO, so support.ca.com you use to download your PTFs or to check on documentation if it's classified as confidential documentation, that same login is what you use here. So you can search on everything that's available, or if you just start typing, all the items in here have a smart search capability. So as you start typing, it'll start zeroing in on what you want. And today we're specifically taking a look at the Workload Automation AE and WCC wiki space. So you can jump to it that way. Now, once you're in here, one thing I want to show, there are some confidential items still within the wiki spaces. So if you do have a login, please go ahead and log in. And again, you just use your CSO login credentials. And it takes you right to it. And if you're using Chrome or Firefox, you can save your password as well. And in fact, the Confluent software this is all built on, it works a little bit better with Chrome or Firefox over Internet Explorer. IE does work, but the preferred method is Chrome or Firefox. So this is the home page, and every home page looks very much the same. So this is our home page for AE and Workload Control Center. So combined AE and WCC, which we decided made sense to put these two items together since they're so commonly used together. So what does the constantly evolving platform give us, and what does it do for us? The main thing is searchability, findability, much more improved over our old bookshelves. And it's also tied into the greater CA system. So as we look at the wiki itself, I want you to make note that we have two different search dialogues here. So as users, it'd be good to get familiar with which one is which here. Top right is the similar search dialogue you'll see in a lot of our new web pages now, so the product pages, the support, the communities. And if I search from here, it'll hit all the connected websites we have within the CA community. So it'll give me hits on the product page, support, communities, the course catalog, and you can even drill down into those whichever you want. So remember, top right search dialog is for the greater CA communities of our different websites for support, for education, so on and so forth. As you're looking for product information within the wiki, if you use the search dialog on top of the table of contents here, then we are looking at what's within the actual wiki here. So, for example, installing SDK runtime environment. So you can drill directly into items there. So much more powerful search than we used to have. I mentioned at the start the ability to export the content to PDF or EPUB. So from here, we've got two buttons here, print to EPUB or print to PDF. If you're selecting these, just keep in mind whatever you were looking at on your main page here, on your main home page, is what it's going to generate. So for example, if I click print PDF from the home page here, I'm going to generate the entire Workload Automation AE and WCC documentation set into one large PDF. So that is formally 40 different books. So just keep in mind that it might take some time to generate that if you click on that. Now, if you want certain items, let's say I don't want to read the entire space and I like PDFs, I want the installation guide, or what was formerly the installation guide, you can click on the installing section here, which opens the installing dialog page. And starting from here, if I click print PDF, then it'll only generate the installing sections. And again, PDF or EPUB, and then that'll post out to a format you can then download your Kindle to your Nook to whatever reader you're using. So one of the other items, again, that gives us the ability to react and answer your questions very quickly. This works, the wiki pages themselves work very much like our community pages do. So let's say, again, you're looking at installing, and we drill into the CLI implementation here, and I have a question. I can add a comment directly to the page here, and it kicks off a discussion dialogue, again, just like our communities use. So, free-form notes, anything you want to tell us here. So if you have a correction, if you have a question, feel free to drop a comment on any page in here. Now, if specifically you didn't like the information there or you do like the information, whichever it is, will this information enable you to resolve your issue? You see this at the bottom here. This is specifically to help our support team address issues in the documentation and for us to further refine it and make this better for everyone. So if you want to, you can also click the Tell Us link here. Was the information helpful? Yes. Was it not helpful? Select No. Tell us what we can do better. That'll send a note directly to us, and we will respond to these within 24 hours. I can't promise resolution in 24 hours. It depends what the issue is, of course, just like any traditional support issue. But if it's things as simple as just updating the doc, or maybe you noticed a small error in there, then we can fix those. We can republish it immediately. Again, I mentioned that immediately republishing. So what we get here with the Wiki or the DocOps platform within the Wiki is that we've got access to corrected and enhanced information immediately. So again, let's say there was a product fix that went out this morning. We would have that fix posted to the space immediately as it's made available. So for example here, oh, we don't have any on AE yet, so let me give a good example. In the agents page, any product updates are always listed under the release information. All products will be the same here under the workload automation family. So if we have any known issues or issues that are fixed, all listed right here with links directly over to the PTFs if there's anything to even download. So from now forward, if there's any items you need to check on or track down, you can go to the wiki space. Again, wiki.ca.com, drill into your product, release information, any fixed issues can then go out and link to the actual fix, which will then give you if there's anything to download or anything there. So we've got all these hyperlinked right here. So it gives us the ability to publish these all in one place. And in the past, these were living on the support side, and they weren't always the easiest to find if you didn't know what you were looking for or the right number. So going forward, these will all be duly posted on the support site still if you go and you know how to search through there, but they're also all available here. And one other item as far as availability, oftentimes with some of our users that have secure environments, say government institutions and banks, the question is, well, how do I hit this site if I'm behind a firewall that doesn't allow me full access? And all the wiki spaces are mobile friendly, so they're very readable even down on a small phone size. They scale right down and you can read everything from your mobile device directly. So as long as you do have web access through a mobile device, and you always have access to the documentation that way as well. So are there any, I'll just pause for a second, are there any questions coming in here? Looks like I know Len had posted it on the chat screen. So if you're watching from the WebEx here, if you click on the chat button, that'll open a chat dialog, and you're welcome to drop us a question there if you have anything as we're going along.
Yeah, Colin, at this point, there aren't any questions in either box yet.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Lynn.
Sure.
So as I was saying, additional features here, and I kind of pointed to this, but integrated search across all platforms. Again, if we're searching top right, you're searching across all CA web spaces, and if you're searching down through the actual product page above the table of contents, that is where the search for this actual space is right here. Search this product. So, and in this case, I'm jumping around to different wiki pages for the workload automation product. So in this case, we're looking at the iDash, the most current GA version, 11.4 right now. So content One thing I note on the content, I had mentioned before, what we did to create these spaces is we literally broke all the books apart and reassembled them based on user context. So that's what our main, the gray-blue boxes are here. And they all look almost the same from product to product. So you always have release information, usually getting started for the first items. Installing is always in there, upgrading, administrating. So these are task-based organizations now, not book-based. So gone are the days of separate user guides for different users. Now you'd probably just drill into like an administrating section here and find all your how-to information for the administrator level. Then using all of your using information for your user level. If there's any extra reference information, that's there. And we have basically a dual navigation system here. You've got a traditional kind of Windows style collapsing and expanding table of contents on the left that you can drill down into if you like to navigate, or you can just click on any of the boxes over here as well. Let's say I want to go into using, and I click on that, and it starts drilling me in from there. So the search is very versatile. You can search directly for anything, and again, it's a smart search, so the more you type, the more it'll zero in on your hits. You can search through the table of contents. You can go straight into the context tiles as well. One item we're real excited about, we're just starting to do now, is in the past, when we delivered our documentation bookshelves, as I said, those were basically hard-coded for the release date, and we didn't update them again until the next release came through. What that required was on our support.ca.com space, so the support online, CA support online, or CSO as we call it sometimes, the support team would then author knowledge base articles that supported the documentation in mid-release. So let's say we determined there was a better best practice for installation. We never updated the documentation book itself because it was difficult and time-consuming to do so. So support would author, let's say, knowledge base articles for installation best practice, and they would post that on the CA Support Online site, which was in a different location on CA Support Online than the technical documentation lived. So if you went out and found the bookshelf and started reading the installation instructions, and that was from a release maybe 6 months ago before we had updated everything, you weren't finding that new best practices. You had to know to go over to the support site and search for that and find it. So what we're doing now, starting with the Workload Automation AE Wiki space, going forward is we're partnering with support to take everything that they used to write as separate articles and integrate it directly back into our DocOps platform here as an integrated space. So in this case, let's say 6 months after our latest release for 11.3.6 SP1, which just went out about 6 weeks ago. In that case, if one of our partners in support had a new installation best practice for us, we would just simply drop it in here, and it's immediately, and publish it today if it was available today, and then it's immediately available for everyone to see. All in one location, everything consolidated under this one web page or web space here. So it will take us time to start getting items pulled into here, and we are going to maintain our CA Support knowledge base backlog, or excuse me, the database with all the old articles in it, but going forward, everything will be authored here. So what that means over time is we author more and more items that you have one location to go for anytime you need information for the one product you're looking at without having to jump around. It was one of the common problems with our old website structure is you had to jump from different locations and you had to know what those locations were, or you had to call support to tell you where to go. So integrated support authoring and we're starting to even integrate some items for marketing. So if your bosses or folks that make the decisions are looking for new information, we're starting to drop links directly to our product sales pages into some of the spaces as well. So that's one of the future items we have going forward. We do support embedded video. So for example, this training video, once we put it on YouTube, I could embed it back into the space here, and it's immediately available there. So any of the training and support and educational videos that are available, we can make them available directly in one space. So we're truly trying to make it a one-stop shopping, if you will, or one-stop technical documentation location within the DevOps platform. And then for the products that have a GUI interface, that have traditionally have the old HTML help, this application also gives us the possibility to build the link directly from the application right into the wiki page here. So no more standalone help, and again, that gives you immediately live, updated information that you know is up to date, not a standalone help system, for example, that was delivered with the product, let's say, a year ago when it went GA. But links that are constantly updated and constantly current with any documentation changes. We have yet to link anything yet. That's in the future going forward. And again, for the workload automation family of products, there's only a handful that do have a GUI interface. But for example, iDash and DE has an interface as well. So in the future, look for the links that bring you straight to here, straight to the wiki pages when you're in the actual application and you press help. So that is everything I have now. So it's kind of a long-winded introduction to what is really, in summary, the central technical information place for all the products now. And one item I would like to point out, just a couple of navigation points. Like I said, once you log in, you'll see your name up in the top right corner. And if you do, you don't have to log in to find most of the spaces. Almost everything is public. There are a couple items within the AE Wiki and the DE Wiki that are still confidential. So those of you with site ID-based logins will need to log in with that in order to see them. And off the top of my head, I don't remember where they are, but if there's items that you think should be in here and you're not seeing, go ahead and log in. They do not show up until you log in if there's confidential items in here. So anytime you want to go back to the home page, it doesn't say home page, but just remember the big black CA Technologies top left here. If you click on that, that'll take you to the home page right here. And then one item I would like to show as well, as we go forward, and we have new releases, and support is still maintained for previous releases. So for example, iDash was our first DocOps platform we delivered on the wiki, and that was the previous version to which was 11.3.6. So there's a wiki for 11.3.6 and a wiki for 11.4 now. So as we go forward and release more items, in fact, let me show this as the user not even logged in. As an internal user, it shows me all the working spaces that we're using internally as well. So this will be a better view for you. Just remember, as you're going to look on the wiki, you'll find the product. You won't find a release listed here, though. For example, I know that there's two different iDash pages, spaces available, but it only shows me product here. So click on the product. This will always direct you to the most recent release. If you need to drill down to a previous release, just remember there's a versions button right here, right underneath the product name on every home page. And if you select that, it'll show you all of the available versions. iDash is one of the few. We have multiple versions available right now. But with all the spaces that are available today, and there's 6 total available right now, with more coming this year, those will have, as we get into the next GA release, those will start tallying up different releases. So you'll see 2, 3, 4 different versions available until the supports drop for those specific versions, and then we'll take them down. So similar to how the bookshelves, we have all the supported versions available today. So if we go back here, just to show everyone all our the 6 spaces we have available right now today. So that's Workload Automation, AE, and WCC. So if you're searching for WCC separately, just keep in mind it's a combined space with AE. Those two go together now. That's just for the informational purposes on the technical information page. Then we have our new advanced integration for SAP products. Those are available in its own wiki space here as well. The agents, formerly 13 separate small bookshelves, are all combined into one wiki space for all of them in one space now. The CA7 Web Client is the first offering for the CA7, the full CA7 products coming later this year, then Workload Automation DE and iDash as well. So that is our wiki tour for today. So any questions or comments from anyone?
I don't see any, Colin.
Okay. All right, everyone, please let us know what you think. Go out and take a look at the spaces and feel free to comment on them. As I showed you, you can open up the comments on any space, on any page in any space. Tell us specifically what you think of that page, what you think of the space. If there's more information you'd like to see, if you see something you don't think is correct, please let us know. Like I said, we can update these very quickly and get any changes made that you think are that are important to you. We can get those delivered pretty much within a day, as long as it's just general doc updates. If we're talking product updates, then that'll go back into our backlog as well. But we will definitely let you know within 24 hours if you leave us a message on our spaces here. Thank you.
All right. Great, Colin. Thank you very much. And just so everyone on the call knows, we'll get this posted to the community later today. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Lynn.